Many thanks for your time on News Today. And into our very first story this afternoon, and the Kolebu Hospital Senior Staff Association this morning embarked on a protest, re-echoing their calls for the dismissal of the hospital's Chief Executive Officer, Gilbert Buckle. Now, earlier this month, the Senior Staff Association of the hospital passed a vote of no confidence in the Chief Executive. Joining us, Michaela Anderson was with the protesters earlier today and joins me in studio with more on what happened there exactly. So, Michaela, what exactly were the reasons for this particular demonstration by these senior staff members?
Well, Chencheni, the issue is that, some members of the Kolebu Senior Staff Association were issued with, they were queried by management of Kolebu for calling for the dismissal of the CEO, Dr. Gilbert Buckle, earlier this month. And so they think the query amounts to victimization and intimidation. So this morning they decided to embark on a solidarity march to respond to that query and express their displeasure about how things are being handled there by Dr. Buckle. Before they marched through some principal streets of Kolebu this morning to present the, should I say, petition or response to management. Some staff addressed some of the members. Let's take a look at what they said. Okay.
Kolebu belongs to Ghanaians, and Ghanaians deserve better. Ghanaians need quality, good service. When they come here, they are sure of good quality service. But we don't get the things that we need to work with. Today we are here to make our demands known. All those who are concerned that COSA is making a demand for the betterment of Kolebu, for the betterment of Ghanaians. So when they come here, to get good quality service. Good quality service.
Somebody went on there to say that before they entered the laboratory, he is going to declare what? Right. And we are declared that is going to eliminate people's lives. That's why people are appreciating it. We are sick and tired of those intimidations. This is Kolebu where we work. No matter what your political status, and we know it. We are here working. Kolebu is made for every Ghanaian. So we will fight and fight and fight until we see that Kolebu is in good position.
So that was some members of the association, that's the Kolebu Senior Staff Association that I still have with me, Michaela Anderson, who was there earlier, mind you. So we did hear some of the staff there, but have we heard from leadership of the association? Yes,
the president of the association, Mr. Charles Ofei Palm, he also addressed members of the association. Okay. He is not happy. He thinks that it's because Dr. Buckle is, well, they're accusing him of misappropriating funds. That's why they've issued a query to some of the executives. He thinks it's not right that they have to air their displeasure. Let's take a look at him.
Okay.
Today's demonstration of your presence is an indication that whatever COSA is doing in the hospital, it has the support of its members. Yes. And the executives speak on behalf of their members. Let it also be clear to Dr. Gilbert Buckle that it was through our actions and inaction that brought him. Yes. Let it be clear to Dr. Gilbert Buckle that it was through the actions and inactions of COSA that brought him. And for that matter, if the Minister of Health has written to us that he, as the Minister Supervisory Agency of the hospital, has taken over the case, there was no need for them to go ahead and issue a query. Yes. They've talked to us, not to talk to the press. We have been calm because we respect authority. One of our things we are demanding is that why is it that when the minister says something, Kolebu can't respect it? We see all these things going on because they don't listen to the minister. Let that one be clear. So today we have responded to the query letter because it is important we respond. So we will march to the administration block in a peaceful manner and let Dr. Gilbert Buckle that gone were the days where intimidation, harassment, victimizations happen in Kolebu, but that is a thing of the past. Yes. And that the leaders speak on the behalf of their people. And for that matter, if he has to dispose of the leaders, then he has to dispose of all of you. Yes. Arise. Arise. We shall descend peacefully here and then go this way, and then we'll go to the administration and hand over the letters. Okay. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you.
Okay, so we can get some more from Michaela. So that was when they were just about presenting the petition. They eventually did present this petition or this response, as they choose to put it, right?
Yes, they did, okay. But before we go into that,
sure.
Let's look at some of the things they are asking for. One, they are not happy with Dr. Buckle's administration. They are saying that he's, well, underperforming, that they think their IGF, their internally generated fund, is being used to help him travel across the country, which they are not happy with. They think that some of their theaters are not working. The gynecological theater, the recovery theater, they are not working, and some other theaters are also leaking.
They believe those funds should rather be channeled into those ones, refurbishment of those.
Of course, and so they presented the response to management of Kolebu. An official received it on behalf of Kolebu. Let's take a look.
We have therefore responded to the query, and we are handing them over to you. We want to assure you that Kolebu is in the heart of all of us. Yes. And everything we say is in the interest of Kolebu, and not in the interest of me or any of you. Kolebu, we all came to meet Kolebu. We will leave Kolebu, but Kolebu must be in a good state when we are leaving, like he came to meet it.
Responses on behalf of management. Okay. We will attend to it, and in due course you will hear from us.
Okay, so you did see that particular presentation there by senior staff members of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Michaela Richter-Anderson was there. She's still here with me in studio. So they have finally presented a response to all these things they speak of. What is their next line of action? What more do they want to do?
Well, after presentation, they just went back to work. But what is rather unfortunate is that we didn't get details of the response. They said it will rather depend on the management of Kolebu because they received it. They deem it fit that they will relay the information to us, to the media.
Right. Many thanks for that update, Michaela Richter-Anderson. And Michaela was our reporter on the ground. She's been protesting with them, if I should use that word. She's been with them this whole time, and she brought us updates of what transpired over there this morning. Now, we can do some more stories now. And the minority leader in Parliament, Osei Mensah-Bonsu, is calling for sanctions against Smarties Productions for fraudulently inflating figures in the bus branding scandal. Now, he insists Smarties must be blacklisted instead of being rewarded with new contracts for swindling the state.
Now, some of us thought that in the midst of this brouhaha, it was most imprudent for government to have allowed this to happen. Whilst the ink on the brouhaha had not dried up, the nation was completely agitated by the role that this company played. And even before we come to a final determination of the matter, we are allowing the same company to do this. There's something in what is called deterrence. Zoom Lion had won a contract in Liberia. The World Bank subsequently found out that the contract figures were padded a bit, and also that some of the works that they alleged to have done, they didn't really do it. So the World Bank blacklisted them. So they would not allow them into any bidding of any work whatsoever, being undertaking or being sponsored by the World Bank. And I thought that the least we could have done with this woman, with the Smarties, was to have gone that route. Smarties should be sanctioned. There's some sanctions should be applied. Not merely refund it, and then life must go on. It shouldn't be like that. As the Minister for Communication was saying, well, if he was involved in this, if they were involved, the company was involved in this, you think another venture, they'll do the same thing. So minority, don't extrapolate. I wasn't extrapolating. And I'm saying that if we are serious-minded as a nation to fight corruption, if a person or company involves itself in this, there should be deterrence, there should be sanction. And in my view, for a business, the sanction should be not to allow the person or the company to bid for any government job again, at least for a while. Even if for 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, that is reasonable.
Police in the northern region have arrested a teacher for defiling 9 pupils. Now, the suspect, David Ananga, was reportedly transferred from the Lamshegu EP primary school to another school after attempting to abort the pregnancy of one of his victims. Now, he's currently in police custody together with his accomplice, Frederick Akoto, who allegedly made his room available for the art correspondent. Martina Bugri has more and joins me now over the telephone with those details. Martina, so tell us much more about who this gentleman is and circumstances leading to his arrest in the first place.
He's a teacher. He was a teacher at the EP primary school, and he was teaching the class 6 people. Now, what he did was he made this young girl he impregnated and asked for her to have an abortion, a cupboard prefect, and so in charge of the computer laboratory. Now, what her duty was to do was clean up the place and make sure the place is tidy for the rest to learn during computer classes. But what the little girl told me was that anytime she goes in to do the cleaning, the teacher comes in and begins fondling her. She said on several occasions she warned him to report the matter to her father, but the teacher pleaded that she shouldn't do that. If she does that, it would embarrass him. And so he also listened to the teacher and didn't report the matter. Now, she said on one occasion, he asked her to accompany her to the market and rather ended up in a friend's house, which is the accomplice, Akoto. And then she said she questioned what they were doing there, and if they had not said they were going to the market. He said he just wanted to have some small time with her, and said he opened the television for her, increased the volume, and started fondling her and had sex with her. Now the girl got pregnant, and not only did she do that to some other young girls in the school I spoke to about 3 of them. They also admit he had had sex with them on different occasions. And those who refused to speak to him, he repeated some of them. I spoke to one of them who was very miserable that her colleagues were now moving to someone and she didn't see it because the teacher had deliberately told her because she refused to have sex with him. Now, when this girl, the victim got pregnant, what the teacher did was, rumor had gone around the school, and so he was moved to a different school. His friend Akoto decided to be the link between he and then the girl. So he told the friend that the little girl was pregnant, and they decided to send her to have an abortion. They went behind the hospital. There's a place they have an abortion there, and then that's where they had the abortion. But the girl kept on bleeding. And then when she was interrogated by her parents, it came to light that the teacher had done that to her, and the matter was reported by both media houses came in, reported the matter. The community themselves reported the matter to doctors. And when the issue was reported, the 2 of them went into hiding. And so the community again saw them, picked them out, and alerted the police, and they were picked up.
Right. Many thanks for that particular update, Martina Bugri, with that report from the northern region. You're watching News Today here on Joy News Multi TV. We're taking a break. We'll be back shortly with some more news. Don't go away. Now, flag bearer of the opposition New Patriotic Party, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is challenging journalists in the country not to be enticed by money to report falsehood to the detriment of the state. At a press soiree at his Nima residence, Nana Addo said the media, as the 4th estate of the Republic, has a duty to protect the interest of the masses by helping fight corruption. Now, this, he says, can be achieved if the journalists are not compromised and report nothing but the truth.
Corruption is a big issue on the lips of all of our people. I believe in that exercise, you have a very, very important role. And it requires what? That you stay with it. This is what happened in the City FM expose of the buses. Sky got the papers from Parliament and he stayed with the story. And in the end, it has brought about some kind of retreat by the government on the matter. We need to continue down that line. If it is true, what is being said, that huge sums of money of the poor people are being diverted into private hands, it's a big problem for all of us. And it's going to be a problem for our today and our tomorrow. Already, we are, in the language of the people in Washington, a country with a high risk of debt distress. And if all those debts have gone into fueling large-scale corruption, then our country is in serious problems. And yes, we politicians have a role to play, but you have a role to play. And I want you to encourage you to stay focused on that role. You are defending those who cannot speak, but who constitute the majority. I'm looking and hoping that the year ahead of us is going to see a very vibrant cooperation between us. A cooperation is not that every day you're going to go and say, Akufo-Addo is the man. No. All of us should be under scrutiny. But a cooperation that says that you are also going to say and do what is necessary to protect the interests of our country. I'm aware that there's a school of thought that says that money is everything, and that there's a lot of money. I'm aware there's going to be a lot of money washing up in the media in the year ahead of us, which is going to require you to spin and spin and spin. But one of the limitations of spinning is that it can never spin away the reality. The reality continues to be what we are all witnessing, an economy in disarray, and an IMF bailout country, which is not where we should be. So whatever be the case, the spinning and spinning has its limitation. The limitation is the reality and the truth of what is going on in Ghana.
Now, hip-hop musician Eugene Ashi, popularly known as Wiser, is this morning stood trial for exposing his genitals to an audience during a stage performance in Accra last week. Now, the rapper was invited on Christmas Day by the Accra Regional Police Command for stripping naked on stage while performing at this year's December to Remember concert organized by Accra-based City FM. Now, midway through his performance at the concert, the musician, while dancing behind the lady on stage, dropped his pants and pulled out his manhood to the audience. Now, he faces a possible jail term of up to 6 months after police charged him with indecent exposure and sexual assault. My colleague Kwacha Afreniama joins me on phone now from court with more on proceedings today. Kwachi, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Now, what really happened in court today?
Well, first, the state prosecutor read his charge to him, plus the facts of the matter, and the charge is facing a singular one of gross indecent exposure. Wiser, who looked extremely sad throughout proceedings, pleaded not guilty, and his lawyer, Jerry Avenogbo, then convinced the court to grant him bail as he would be available anytime the court needed him. Again, he told the circuit court that what happened was simply, for quote, the beauty of entertainment. And the presiding judge, after hearing his argument, that's Abna Opon-Ajindo, granted him bail to the tune of 8,000 Ghana cedis. The case has been adjourned to January 13th. And I must say that his wife, his father, manager were all in court today to give him moral support.
Well, interesting that he pleads not guilty and says that particular act we did see was just for show, just for the act. But we did hear him apologize earlier. So what exactly was he apologizing for?
Well, I've been speaking to his lawyer as well after court proceedings, and the point he makes additionally, is that he believes his client did nothing wrong. In fact, he suggests that the penis that we've all seen in videos, the pictures and all that, could have been a fake one. What is sold, and the point he makes is that what is sold in sex shops, the fake penis sold in sex shops, you know, and that he doesn't make an emphatic point that it was, but that's the suggestion that he makes, that it could have been that what we all think was actually a real manhood is simply a perception at this stage, and they will prove their case in court once the next hearing commences on January 13, to prove to the whole world that the Weiser is indeed innocent of the gross indecent exposure he's been charged with by state prosecutors.
Many thanks for that particular update. Kwachi Afreniama, who was in court this morning and just brought us that particular report. And Gladys Oseo Redu will be joining us with a lot more when it's time for the entertainment segment. But let's try and get a bit more understanding on this particular issue. Eduardo Say is known in showbiz as Hammer. He's the director of Hip Life Hip Hop for the Musicians Union of Ghana Musica. He joins us over the telephone lines now with some thoughts on this particular issue. So, Mr. Say, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us in the first place. Now, this is what we are hearing from the lawyers of Weiser, saying that well, he pleads not guilty. He didn't do any such thing. We have seen statements from your outfit and Musica as a whole condemning the act and saying that you were actually going to punish him. Now, you still hope to punish Weiser for such a thing?
Basically, for now, the law is is doing its job. We want to withdraw to the background until the courts are done. We don't want to be interfering left and right with the courts. And about the disciplinary action, it is by the executive committee of Musica. They will meet him. I think they're supposed to meet him tomorrow, and he's going to face them and deal with them. But as for the outcome, I don't know. My office is just the mediator. I reported the case to the committee, and they summoned them. So he will be dealing with the committee, but my office won't be doing any such punishment or anything like that.
What possible sanctions await him should he meet this committee tomorrow?
I can't say. I don't think it's much for me to say anything. The committee has to sit down, speak to him, and get to a level where they will all, because for now, a lot of people are pointing hands in the industry. People are actually saying we do things with impudence. People think they are musicians, they think they are stars. They do things without caring about the public and stuff like that. So it's affecting the industry as a whole. So I'm sure when they meet him, all these things will come up. And I'm hoping that he has learned already from the wide, attention he has gotten, the negative attention he has gotten for what he has done. And I'm hoping that the other musicians are also seeing this, the impact, and seeing the law take its course. And I'm hoping nobody will repeat a thing like that anymore.
Hama, what many are trying to reconcile is the fact that lawyers for Weiser are saying that, well, he possibly did not show his manhood. But we did also hear him come out with an apology and even followed up with a song apologizing for that particular act of his. So how do we reconcile the two?
It's strange. I don't know why it's going on like that, because I remember him going round on an apology tour on some TV stations and radio stations. I don't know why they would plead not guilty. It must be their strategy. I don't know why. I don't want to mention anything because I'm confused myself. Because I can't understand how somebody apologizing for something can turn around and say it was a dildo. It doesn't make sense to me. But I guess they know what they're doing. Their outfit knows what it's doing. I don't want to be part of that for now.
Many thanks for your time on News Today here on Joy News Multi TV. And Edo Say, popularly known as Hammer in showbiz circles, joined us on phone. He's the director of Hip Life Hip Hop for the Musicians Union of Ghana. And what he tells us is that Wiser will be meeting up with the disciplinary committee of the Musicians Union of Ghana possibly tomorrow to answer some questions as to that particular act of his that has seen him in court. Today we are told his lawyers have been pleading not guilty. We'll bring you much more on this, like I said, subsequently. But time now for us to take a break on News Today. When we return, we come your way with business. So it's time for business, and as usual, we have Emmanuel we are favored with the very latest. Hi, Emmanuel.
Hi, Chenchen. You know what? Yeah. The Wiser story is still, it's kind of funny.
Could there be a business twist to this Wiser thing?
Well, for this one,
could he rake in a lot more revenue as a result of this whole thing?
People think that, he was trying to catch attention and to create more market for his music. But I bet you it's really gone down.
Okay.
I mean, it's not too bad.
That's according to the business expert anyway. I'm sure you have a lot more stories for us in business.
Yes, all right. So welcome to the business segment. The Ghana Civil Aviation Authority is promising the instrument landing system at the Kumasi Airport will be operational by the end of next month. Some domestic airlines have grounded their flights due to poor weather conditions, and the ILS would have helped to keep the planes flying to that airport. Earlier, Director General of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, Simon Alute, said the authority did not have enough resources to install high-tech equipment that will enable the domestic flights operate in harmattan periods. Instrument landing system ILS is to ensure planes can land safely even in poor weather conditions. The equipment is yet to be operational despite being installed at the Kumasi Airport over a year ago. Director General of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, Simon Alute, blames the delay on technical hitches.
If we could install, let's say, a Cat 2 or Cat 3 ILS at Tamale, which is very, very expensive, it could reduce the minima, that's the distance to, below the 700 we are currently talking about. We are currently, that's the civil aviation, working on the installation of an ILS at Tamale, and once it is installed, it will improve the situation. We've just completed installation of one unit at Kumasi, but it has to go through flight calibration to properly get the instrument working.
Meanwhile, some local airlines have since resumed regular flight schedules to various destinations. Now, the Tema port expansion would enhance the quest to position the country as a hub for trade and industry in West Africa. That's the projection of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority as it prepares to commence expansion works at the port next year. The Tema port is expected to handle at least thrice its current capacity upon completion. GPHA's Marketing and Public Relations Manager, Paul Asariansa, tells Joy Business the economic prospects of the $1.5 billion project cannot be overemphasized.
Expanding the port means expanding the capacity of the port to handle any increase in trade that passes through Ghana. It means expanding our ability to attract more transit cargo and lead us towards the national goal of positioning our country as a gateway for trade and industry in the sub-region. Increasing the capacity in terms of berthing facilities, modernization of equipment means improving efficiency that will translate into minimization of the cost of doing business. That will translate into lower cost of imports and competitive cost of our exports on the international market. Expanding the port means removing occasional congestion that translates into delay.
And still in the business, public policy think tank Third World Network is pushing for all the renegotiated stability agreements with the mining firms to be made public. The group's call follows the recent review of the stability agreement with mining firm Newmont. Government last Thursday announced it had completed reviewing the investment and tax agreement covering Newmont's operations in Ghana, despite concerns this may not be in the country's interest. Dr. Yar Graham is coordinator of the Third World Network.
we are keen that the new agreement with Newmont is used to set a trend where all mining agreements are published in full so that the public can know what agreements contain. Why do I say this? Because there's an accumulated practice where governments give too much. I mean, the thing about respecting, the relation between company and state, it's an old-fashioned approach not to publish agreements. And I think minerals are held in trust for the people of Ghana by the government. So they actually should be among the first to know the terms on which the minerals are being given to somebody to exploit. So we are hoping that the ministry would pretty soon publish the new agreement so that people can more fully discuss it. And I think beyond the general statement that has been put out, it would be helpful if the government made a detailed presentation about what they see as what has been achieved with the new agreement to inform public awareness and also discussion about the ways in which our non-renewable resources are being managed.
And that does it for Business for Joy today. Join us again on Joy News Prime at 7 p.m. for more business news updates. My name is Emmanuel If you keep watching.
You're watching News Today here on Joy News Multi TV, and now some news just coming in from government suggests that load shedding has been brought to an end. I'll be bringing you much more on this, but joining me in studio now with a copy of the statement from government. The statement just came in a while ago. Is my colleague Kwabena Amprechum, who has a full particular statement. So, Kwabena, tell us much more about this statement from government and what it says. Load shedding is that's it?
Yeah, Chanchan, this is a very brief statement from the Power Ministry, and I'll read the whole statement for you. It says, the Ministry of Power wishes to inform the public that its load shedding program in respect of electricity supply has been brought to an end. The Ministry takes this opportunity to express its profound gratitude and appreciation to the entire citizenry and residents of Ghana for their forbearance and understanding during those difficult times. And it also goes on to say the Ministry and its agencies wish to assure the public that it shall continue to pursue policies and programs to consolidate the gains so far made in the generation of and transmission of electricity for the country. So basically, the load shedding exercise where you have to go off for a specific amount of time, some hours, and then get light at some hours has ended. What they have not said is whether Dumso has ended or not, because the Power Minister has been clearly struggling to make a distinction between Dumso and load shedding. So now load shedding has ended. Probably if the light goes off in your area, maybe you can call ECG to find out why your light is off. But load shedding has ended. As for Dumso, we are not sure whether it has ended or not.
That's quite interesting. But we'll bring in viewers a lot more on this. But many thanks for that update. And that was my colleague Kwabena Amprechum reading to you that particular statement from the Power Ministry, which states that load shedding has officially come to an end, and we'll be exploring this issue further on our subsequent bulletins, particularly on the Pulse, which airs at 3 p.m. right here on this very same channel. We're taking a break. We'll be back with entertainment. And before we go, we bring you this particular story, a very touching one, and you have every right to be angry. But remember not to commit a sin in situations like that. Well, that's according to the Holy Scripture, the Bible. Now, though a devout Christian, 93-year-old Openyim Kojomeno did not follow this biblical instruction. Now, he had a misunderstanding with his wife and ended up killing her together with his brother-in-law. Openyim Meno is back from the prison after 35 years, trying to educate people in his hometown on the need to control their anger to avoid what he went through. Seth Kwame has the rest of the story.
Hello. Good morning, sir.
Thank you.
You are most welcome.
Thank you.
To Tamale Central Prison.
Okay.
I had spent almost my entire day inside the Tamale Central Prisons interviewing inmates and officers. Having inhaled that unbearable cocktail of urine and intolerable cell stench which triggered an uncontrollable headache, I was rushing out when I heard this faint, fatigued voice "My son, come." I turned, and it was a frail, sick, and extremely old man. He was 92 then. He could barely walk and even breathe well. He had a simple message for me. He said, and I quote, "My son, I will soon die, but please, when you get to Accra, tell the president I don't want to die here. He should let me go home and die." That was the first time I met Openyi Kojumenu. Upon my return to Accra, I informed the authorities about Mr. Menu's plight, and on July 1, 2015, he obtained his freedom resulting from a presidential amnesty. Mr. Menu, who is now out of prison, could not hold back his gratitude to the president.
I am so grateful to the president for granting me this freedom. May God bless him and all the people around him. May they have sympathy for all others who need help.
He's now 93 years and has reunited with his family for the first time in 35 years. Openyi Kojumenu was jailed in 1980 at age 58 when he could not control his anger and ended up killing his wife and his brother-in-law.
Misunderstanding in all marriages is common. My wife lied to me, and when I discovered the truth, I got very angry. We tried settling the issue, but that did not work. My brother-in-law worsened the problem.
I'll bring you a playback of that full piece by award-winning Seth Kwame Boateng. But that's how we draw the curtains on News Today here on Joy News Multi TV. My name is Kwabena Chenchenhene Boateng. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. Enjoy the rest of our broadcast.